Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to another solo, snackable version of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. Guess what? It's 6 weeks until Christmas comes. On the day I'm recording that, it's 6 weeks exactly. It's a little bit scary, hey? So how's your year been? Has it been busy? Has it been productive? Has there been ups and downs? I know there has been with mine, particularly with ADIO Media. It's been super busy with Tony finishing up here at ADIO Media and going back into practice, which reminds me, before Christmas, we'll have another touch base with Tony as well, because last time when Tony joined us on the podcast, he hadn't even opened his doors yet, but his practice is now open and things are doing great. Now there's hurdles, he'll share some of those with you as well, but I'll make sure I have Tony coming back here in the coming weeks. Now there's a tendency this time of the year, and I know it has been for me in past years, just to want to kind of slow down, to tail things off a little bit as well. Now I realized something over the last few years, and that is successful practitioners, whether it be chiropractors or osteopaths, naturopaths, in fact sort of successful businesses, use this time of the year for one last sprint, one last kind of ramp up as well. Now, in a couple of moments, I'll talk to you about how I might be able to help you do that, ramp things up for the end of the year, come together with a group of us so that we can make sure we hit 2020 running as well. But before we do that, today on this episode, I want to talk with you all about website. In fact, we're not going to talk all about website. We're going to talk about just the very beginning part of the website, what's often referred to as the header or the area above the fold. Now, this is without a doubt the most important part of your website. In fact, this part of your website has a really simple job to do. It's got 3 questions it needs to answer, and it needs to answer those in the first 5, maybe 7 seconds. That's all you've got. And if your website doesn't do this, or if it does a lousy job of doing this, do you know what you can expect to happen? You can expect that person to bounce right off and go and try and find another practitioner in your area. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into this area. Now, above the fold is what it's often referred to, or the header section. The reason it's called above the fold is a bit of an old newspaper thing. So in the old days, we don't tend to buy newspapers as much now as well, but when the newspapers used to be kind of folded in half and on the newspaper stand, the area above the fold was the part of the newspaper that you could actually see. And that area there, the newspaper men and women knew they needed to have a big, strong, bold headline there to try and get us to buy the newspaper. Now, if it wasn't exciting and or enticing, we didn't buy the paper. So that's how important it was. And your website is exactly the same. So what are those 3 questions? We'll talk about what they are. And then I'm going to give you some examples of some websites and then a little bit of a challenge for you as well. Let's dive in. Here's what those 3 questions are. And remember, within the first 7 seconds, you want to be answering these. The first question is, what do you offer? The second question, how does it make my life better? And the third question is, how do I get it? Now, before we dive into those 3 questions, I'm going to just step aside for the moment here too, because I look at a lot of websites all the time. And many of the websites that I see and that you guys are asking me to take a look at are literally pieces of art. They're works of art. They're beautiful. The imagery on them is stunning. The design on them is stunning as well. And when I talk about them as pieces of art, they literally could hang on somebody's wall. But they do a really lousy job with conversion. That is getting the phone ringing, because there's a difference between something looking visually spectacular and it getting a result. And if I had a choice of a website that looked really great and or one that had really great copy that allowed me to build a relationship and build a trust, then I'm going to choose the second one. Now, luckily for us, we don't have to choose one or the other. We can actually have both there. What I'm trying to get across is the most important part of your website is really the story that it's telling and the words that it has on there. Now, the images are important because many times I also see this. I see images on practitioners' websites that just flat out don't make sense. And so think about it. What kind of story are you trying to tell with your image? And it should really match the words that are on there as well. Now, I thought the best way for me to take you through this would be for me to show you some other websites. In fact, this will be particularly powerful for those of you that are just listening to this as well. Because what I think is great about these websites is that when I just read their headline, tell you a little bit about the website without you even being able to see it, you should know exactly what they offer, How does it make somebody's life better? And then how do we go about getting it? Now, of course, if you're actually watching this on the video here as well, then I'm going to have images of these pictures up as well. Now, in a couple of weeks, it might be a little longer than that as well, I'm going to have Jamie from Results & Co. Marketing and Consulting on here as well. They build beautiful websites. In fact, a couple of these websites I'm going to show you through in particular are ones that Jamie actually made he and his company as well. So not only do they look visually spectacular as well, but they answer all those three questions really easily also. So let's take a look at our first first website, this is guitarquickstart.com. Now the domain enough might give you a little bit of a hint about what we might be talking about here as well. But the first thing when I look at this website is a big headline in a contrasting color. And the headline simply says this: the easiest way to learn to play guitar. Now, so we come back to that first question is, what do you offer? It's really simple. This is going to teach me how to play the guitar. The second question, how does it make my life better? Well, it makes my life better because it's the easiest way. Now, I don't know how to play guitar. I've had a fiddle with the guitars in the past, and it's not easy. And if somebody can show me the easiest way to do that, then that will clearly make my life better. Now, the third question I need to ask is, how do I get it? Now, immediately when I look at this, there are two big contrasting buttons on here that just say buy now. This is a course. Okay, this is not somebody that's going to head over to their house and they're going to teach me. It's not a class one-on-one that I'm going to go to. It's an online course. So this website, the one in front of us, really ticks each of those boxes with regards to what do they offer. Guitar lessons is what I'm doing, but they're online guitar lessons. How does it make me feel? I'm going to be happy because it's going to show me how to do it in a fast and easiest way as well. How do I get it? I hit those purchase buttons as well. Now this next website that we're going to look at is called punchlove.com. Now just the domain there is not going to really give it away. So if you're just listening to this, perhaps before I go into what it is and read the headline, what's punchlove.com? So the actual name of your website, in this case the domain name, is not really all that important, okay? What's important are the words and the images that are on our website. So when we look at this site, what is it? It's boxing fitness classes for women, and there's a subheadline there as well which really talks about lose weight and have fun. So what does it offer? It offers us boxing fitness classes for women. What are the benefits? I'm going to lose weight and have fun. What have I got to do? What have I got to do next? Or how do I get it? Is that question there as well? Well, when I look at this one here, there are actually kind of two call to actions on here. And if I had one kind of thing about this site which I would kind of simplify, is I think it's best to have just one call to action. So the call to action we can see here is get a free info pack. Or the one I think I'd kind of be directing people towards more and have on there more obviously is this 30-day trial here as well. So the big image that's on the screen for those of you that are listening to this as you're driving or walking along is just women boxing, kind of hitting punching bags and those kind of things there too. So it's super clear. There's no doubt that within 5 to 7 seconds of me opening up this website, I know exactly what they offer, I know exactly how it's going to make my life better, and I know exactly how I'm going to go about getting it. Now this next site that we'll have a look at is such a beautiful mix of not only great words, but also really wonderful design as well. This is not one of Jamie's, but it's another great site that I found as well. It's Speech Sisters. So the website is actually speechsisters.com. And then we have a look at what the tagline or the headline across here, it's simply this: Your Child Can Talk, an online course for parents of late talkers. So there it is, straight away there's an image on there of what looks like a mother who's talking to a child, or probably more the child is actually talking to her. So it really matches. She's super excited about what she can see, very friendly face as well. But that headline is perfect. Your Child Can Talk, an online course for parents of late talkers. So what are they offering? It's an online course. How does it make my life better? Because you're telling me that my child actually can talk. Now, if you imagine for a moment, empathetically, that you're a parent and you have got a child and it's a late talker, how would it make you feel that you've found this online course where you can learn actually how to get your child talking as well? Now, how do I get it? When I look here as well, there's two big buy now buttons, one underneath the headline, one up the top right-hand side of the screen there as well. And there's also a second call to action here in terms about learn more as well. Now, again, like I mentioned on my previous site there too, I think when it comes to a call to action, less is more. Now, I'm not suggesting that there shouldn't be a learn more button somewhere else there too, but this above the fold, we want to make it really simple with what we want our audience to do. So this is a really stunning example here from speechsisters.com as well. So let's jump on over to my chiropractic practice site over at Life Chiropractic in Port Melbourne, and let's have a look at what we've done there as well and how it meets those three questions as well. So we open up the page. Of course, we're looking at all of these at the moment. I want to just stop for a moment. We're looking at all of these on a desktop, but the same thing certainly should happen when you're looking on a mobile device as well. These rules and these three questions don't change at all, just for those of you that are watching the video as well. The first piece of text that you notice that comes across here is the big tagline there, and the tagline says less pain, more life. Safe, gentle and effective chiropractic care. So what is it? What do I offer? I'm offering safe, gentle and effective chiropractic care. how's it going to make my life better? Well, I'm going to have less pain and I'm going to have more life there as well. Now, for a moment, this tagline really matches my practice. So I'm in the process of going through a redesign of my wife, Lauren's practice. Now, Lauren does stunning work with kids. She works with kids who have developmental delays, who have sensory motor type sort of issues, so difficulties with reading and writing and playing and all those kind of things there too. This headline totally wouldn't make sense for a website at all. You know, the people coming to see her aren't coming to see her for kind of less pain and more life. So we're kind of brainstorming through ideas at the moment that better kind of reflect that as well. And then how do they go about getting it? Like for those of you that are looking at the video there too, you'll notice there's two big contrasting green buttons are on the screen there that says schedule an appointment and then with my phone number. Now, these buttons are clickable if you're on a mobile device there. And so this site here really quickly identifies and answers those three questions. What do you offer? It's chiropractic care, okay? And what's the benefit for me? I'm going to get less pain and I'm going to have more life. Now that less pain and more life, if you haven't listened to, a couple of weeks ago, I had Dan Sullivan on the show. And Dan talked about the importance of there being talking about loss aversion. And that is that we're 2.3 times more motivated to move away from pain than we are to move towards pleasure. And many times, particularly as chiropractors, we have these beautiful websites that's just all about wellness care and all about the things to move towards, which is great because we know that chiropractic helps with all of those kind of things. And I have now a family wellness-based chiropractic practice as well, but I understand what motivates people, what helps them begin the journey is that we also have to talk a little bit about the pain. And in this case, I'm talking about less pain, more life as well. So again, my site here really easily identifies and answers those three questions of what do you offer, how does it make my life or your life better there as well, and then how do I go about getting it. So there you have it. That's the three questions that the upper, above the fold, the header section of your website needs to answer. So here's my challenge for you. I want you to head on over, get your laptop open, or maybe just open up on your mobile phone and take a look at your website. In fact, rather than you taking a look at your website, show it to a complete stranger. Give them 5 to 7 seconds and see if they can answer those three questions. If they can, then high five your website is doing the very first thing that it needs to do. And if they can't answer those questions, and that's okay, then get to work. Now, earlier on in the podcast, I talked to you about finishing off the year strong. So instead of just wandering into the end of the year, I talked about finishing with a sprint. Now I want to invite you to join me. So imagine this. Imagine if you were able to begin 2020 knowing that you had a marketing blueprint sorted. So that means your website was optimized, you had a predictable strategy to turn complete strangers, you know, the people that maybe you're interacting with on social media, into actual patients. You knew how to create content. That's one of the biggest hurdles that I have people coming to me with each and every week. Angus, what videos do I make? What blog posts should I do as well? So imagine if heading into 2020, you had at least your first 12 weeks done. So outlines maybe of your videos or your blog posts, headings, those kind of things there too, but strategically created because that content is ultimately what turns that stranger into a patient. And then also, what if you had a way to reach lots of new people as well by spending just $1 a day? Now think if we're to get the most out of our social media, we've got to pay to play. Now I'm looking for just 10 people who want to join me in a sprint between now and the end of the year to achieve these exact goals. Now I'm calling it Project Sprint 2019, and here's what it is. It's 4 weeks long, and here's exactly what we'll do together. So you and 9 other individuals will work together with me each and every week. So we'll be doing video conferences, I'll be releasing content, you'll get my private email address. In fact, I'm also going to set up a Voxer account as well, so I can hold your hand through achieving all of those goals. In fact, you'll have me as your Ask Me Anything marketing coach between now and Christmas time. Now there's some really specific goals that I want to achieve, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. So here's some of what we'll work on. I'm going to take you through the exact elements of a patient converting website. Now I went over just one of those. We talked about the heading, but there are lots of other steps that we need to have. We'll talk a little bit about the About Me page. In fact, why the About Me page is actually more about your ideal patient as well. I'm going to take you through and we'll have a long and important conversation about customer journey. And this is one that I see so many people get wrong. The reason why social media doesn't work for you is because you don't understand the customer journey of what it takes to take someone from a stranger all the way through to a patient. I'm going to show you how to create magnetic videos. videos. In fact, when you join me on Sprint 2019, I'm going to give you 2 of my courses that'll help you make great videos. The mobile video blueprint and the live video blueprint as well. So there's like $600 worth of courses that I'm going to give you there. I'm also going to talk you through Facebook and Instagram advertising. Now, so many people shy away from this because of the expense, but if you spend $1 the right way, then you can actually reach hundreds and many times thousands of new people, and you can start to build up that know, like, and trust that ultimately ends up with your practice being way, way busier. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm only going to be working with 10 people. 1, because it's a lot of work from me, but 2, I want to find people that are really, really focused. So if this is a must for you, and if you can set aside maybe 3 to 4 hours each and every week, if you feel like you're good at what you do, but you just need to reach more people, then Project Sprint is for you. Now, as I mentioned before, we'll be getting together once a week. I'll be releasing some content. We'll have lots of live Q&A over Zoom, and you'll have access to me certainly Monday to Friday. We've got to have weekends off either via my email or the Vox account. So those 4 things that we're going to be covering again are, first of all, we'll be going over your website, making sure that your website is doing the job that it ought to be doing. We're going to do a lot of content creation. I'm going to make sure that you have your first 12 weeks of content all scripted out, all sorted out, whether it be blogs or videos or podcasts. You're going to know exactly what you need to be doing. We talk a lot about sort of lead generation and customer journey. So that's putting together maybe even a lead magnet or an automated email sequence also. And then finally, we're going to talk about my $1 a day Facebook advertising plan. Now, if this sounds like something that you want to do, then I would love for you to join me. Now, you can register for this. As I said, it'll be first come, first serve basis. So I hope the spot's still there for you. Go to adiomedia.com/sprint. We'll be starting towards the end of November. I think it's November 25th and going 4 weeks solid all the way through there. Now, all the content will be recorded. You'll have lifetime access to it afterwards, but you've got that 4 weeks to have me in your pocket helping you all the way through that. Now, as always, thanks so much for all that you do. Keep saving lives. I hope that you can join me with Project Sprint 2019. If you're not going to work with me, then you can do a lot of this stuff by yourself as well. Now, as always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. I look forward to seeing you back on this podcast next week. See you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now, you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.